Help me ducks, it's Simon here. Welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. So, firstly, apologies. I've got a poorly finger, so I hope it's not going to be too off-putting in the video. But I've come on today because I want to talk about this deck, which is the Simply Deep Tarot. It's by Chanel Bayliss. And the artwork is by James Battersby. Now, James Battersby is one half of the Tarot Collectibles, and this was a deck that was done a while ago. I saw a walkthrough video of a version of this deck over on Ben's channel from Beneficial Tarot. I will link that walkthrough below because it is a different style deck. And that is one that's available via Tarot Collectibles website, and it's printed through Make Playing Cards. And he showed the video, and he was saying that they're not available in the UK. And I can't remember how he got around that, but he was able to find a way around it. And I was really taken by the images. They're very simple, as it's called, Simply Deep, but I really like the tarot deck. So I did a bit of a Google search and this deck came up, but it just kept referring to it as a book, even though it did say 78 card deck. So I contacted James and Christine over at Tarot Collectibles, and Christine came back within minutes saying that this was a genuine deck. It was originally published by Schiffer, as we can see here, by Schiffer. But they do their own version as well. So I decided to get this. Now, one of the things that is a big difference between this deck and the one that Ben showed is the borders on it. Now, these do have borders, and they are reminiscent of the early Schiffer decks, which had the thicker borders, like on Mary L. and Everyday Enchantment and things like that. So if the borders bother you, then, and you can get them through Tarot Collectibles, then do. I'm going to do a modification, I think I've decided, on this deck, because I like them borderless, but I quite like having the title separate as well. And you do see slightly, not a lot, but slightly more of the image on this version rather than the version you can get that is borderless. So it's in this nice kind of clamshell magnetic box, a bit like the boxes Schiffer were doing a few years ago. If you've got things like Guardian Tarot, then they are like this. We've got these two little ribbons. We've got a booklet on the inside, Simply Deep, and it's got black and white colour thumbnails of the cards with some keywords and upright and reverse meaning. The book is 96 pages. So there's a little bit here about James, who's in Northern Ireland, and also about the author Chanel. So other than that, there's not a whole lot of extra information other than a little bit about the deck. So we've got how do I go in deep, and then structure the deck, then it goes into the cards. So nice little book. It's glossy, the box, but very sturdy and compact. I quite like them when they're this size because they store a lot easier than what they would if they was in the larger boxes. So it says a Rider-Waite style 78 card tarot deck designed to help a reader immediately connect with the traditional meanings of the card. Using a basic viewpoint, these vibrantly painted cards implore you to delve deeper on an emotional level, yet still supply interesting little nuances to everyday life. The booklet includes exercises allowing you to bond with your personal story through each card and describes the benefit of achieving emotional detachment energetically. Each card is defined in both upright and reverse meanings with keywords included. Find out how simple it is to read the tarot and explore your personal story. And that's the premise of the deck, really. It's supposed to be very, very simple, but give you some real kind of deep insights. So it helps you tap into your personal stories of the reader, cards that are easy to connect with, offering unexpected nuances, 78 simple to read art tarot cards, and a handy guide in Rider-Waite style. Kind of wish it said Rider-Waite Smith, but... So we've got these little extra bits for padding. I won't keep them because the cards are going to be even smaller when I've taken the borders off. Maybe I should do this video in 2 halves and come back at the end, although it'll probably be a week from now because I'm not going to get around to being able to trim this until the weekend. So we've got the Schiffer card. So this was before Red Feather became an arm of Schiffer for their Mind, Body, Spirit type decks. So there's some other titles here. These are the backs, which are reversible, and it's got this kind of seer peering into the cards, divining with the cards. That's quite nice. In terms of size, I think they're just a little bit shorter than a traditional tarot, yeah. So they are wider, perhaps so you can see the shortness. So if I'm taking off this part, so the top part and the 2 sides, I want to be able to keep the title at the bottom. So they will be a little bit smaller. I'll corner around them as well and edge them. They'll become probably the size of... No, it's not going to be the size of that, is it? I was thinking of like a Fournier. Let's have a look at a Fournier deck. So maybe the size of a Fournier deck. Yes, actually. Although it'll be a little bit wider. So I'll take it down. It'll be just a little bit shorter than a Fournier size deck. Now, I think they're all different colours, the borders, and I'm not sure they're colour coordinated in terms of colours for the suits, majors, etc. Because looking at this, you've got green, purple, pink, green, maroon, orange, green, orange, like an olive colour. So they're all different. It's very, very colourful. So the only thing I'm going to be keeping is the colours at the bottom, but it might be interesting to so hold on, when we get to the minors, they're whites with colours at the side, so they're colour themed. So our coins has this kind of green, swords as like a yellow, but they're just white at the top, which is odd. Like a pinky colour for wands, and don't really know what colour that is, like a silvery blue for cups, and then the courts go back to having coloured tops. Yeah, so it's quite bizarre. So I can understand why some people don't like the borders on them. Now, I think it's worth pointing out as well that even though I review Schiffer decks, I have purchased this deck. It's not one that's been sent to me for review. I purchased it because I liked the look of the images, and I wanted to get it. So I just wanted to make that differentiation as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the camera down. We'll have a look at the images as you get them with the borders, and then I'll come back at the end, possibly a week from now, but for you, because of the magic of the internet, it will be a few seconds, and then after the flip through, I will show you what the finished result looks like now that it's been trimmed. What I should mention first is the cardstock. The cardstock, it is glossy, it has a glossy finish to it, but they're nice, thick, sturdy cards. This is quite a chunky deck, so it sits nice in the hand, but it's probably like the original Mary L, if anybody's got the first edition of the Mary L. Okay, so let's have the flip through. Okay, so as if by magic, 4 days have passed and I've done the borderectomy and other modifications. So I think a couple of things to say. If the picture looks clearer, I've got a new phone. It arrived today. It's a new iPhone, so hopefully it promises to have better camera quality, so you'll have to let me know if it does seem better than the first half of this video. There are some pros and cons. So I set about today and I cleared a desk and I got my guillotine out and I started to remove the borders, and I was really impressed at how smooth the edges were. I think it's one of my best trimming jobs to date. It was, you know, I lined everything up meticulously and I was really happy with how they turned out. Removed those borders and yeah, they started to look good. And then I corner rounded them and they really took shape, and I was really happy with the end result. I'm pleased with the edging, and you can see it's really smooth. So they are, you know, as I lay them flat, none of them are jutting out or anything. It's very, very smooth. And I used 3 different pens. So I used a dark green, a light green, and a blue to try and pick up the backs. So on camera, they look grey, but they are kind of like a bluey green colour. And I really like this effect. I was going to go, because the borders are all different colours, I was going to go with all different colours. But then I thought, do you know what? I'm not, because it could end up being too messy. I did that originally when I did the Poppy Palin Everyday Enchantment. And it turned out okay, but this does have a lot of colours on the back. So I love how this has turned out. It's like a completely new deck with having the borders missing, removed. Really love it. The problem is, because I said there was pluses and minuses, my finger's still poorly, but it's healing. I said there were pluses and minuses. When I started to edge the deck with the Winsor and Newton Sharpies, they started to bleed. And it's noticeable on the minors where there is white at the bottom. Do you see? I mean, some are worse than others. And it's not huge and it's not too distracting, but I notice it. So I was like, no. But of course I'd already done some, and it's not the ones that you can just wipe off because it's underneath, it's gone underneath the lamination. So, but you know what? I love this deck. I mean, James Battersby can do no wrong. He's the one half of Tarot Collectibles, him and Christine, and they're beautiful souls, lovely people. This is James's artwork, and I just love his artwork. So this is great. I'm really happy with it. I love this wheel. Look at this the devil here turning the wheel. It's called the Simply Deep because the artwork is simple, but you know, there's everything here, the symbology is here. I love this magician card. It's one of my favorite magician cards. I love the different view of seeing the magician from behind at work. Look how his candle wax is melting over his spell book, but you know, you've got this incense smoke here. Oh, it's just beautiful. It's the stuff we have around us, you know, the magician's tools. It's the stuff we have around us. This high priestess looking into this crystal ball. It's just gorgeous. I love this Hierophant. Look, I mean, he's a monk. is at one with nature, you know. It's not there in his finery with supplicants in front of him. He's got a squirrel and a bird is out in the trees, a little bench. There's a Celtic cross in the background. The lovers is very kind of vintage or Edwardian type. She's showing a bit of leg. So I just love it. It's modern, it's fresh, it's clear. The images are crystal clear. And now that it's been modified, I just think it's perfect. Perfect for me. I will probably one day get the MPC version because I really like... Look at that. Look at the 4 colours in the Temperance card around. Just like here. This Devil card. Look at them. In the eye of the devil. This is the devil's eye. It's just wonderful. I love the Moon card. The Judgment card. Look at that. And this World card. Look at these trees that are hands holding the world. It's beautiful. We hear of the tree of life, but look at that, holding everything that contains life. Really beautiful. This is really interesting, the 3 of Cups. Certainly the images look clearer on this camera. I hope it uploads to the same quality. I'm filming in 4G, so not 4G, 4K, 4G. The Princess of Cups. So we have princesses rather than pages in this deck, which I like. The 2 little fish. Ace of Wands. The little match girl. I love the fiery colours for a lot of the wands, fire energy cards. I love that 9. Just beautiful. I don't think in the first half as well, I gave enough credit to the book. The book, actually, I've been reading this week and I'm really impressed with that. Even at the tops, so smooth. They don't give you a description of the scene, but it talks about the scene, because it will say something like, let's have a look, a really good one. So you've got our High Priestess here looking into the crystal ball. It will say, take a look at the bigger picture. You can change the outcome by changing the environment. So here she's looking in the crystal ball and she's got a landscape with a tree. Same here with the Magician. You're in touch with your magical side. Now practice using it properly. Gather all your tools and knowledge together in order to manifest your will. Don't be afraid to experiment with what works best for you. Just be careful you don't push your will onto another inadvertently, taking away their right to free will. How often do we get that as a depiction for... for the Magician card. Sorry, I got distracted there. So it's a nice little book, actually. Nice little book. But I love these images. They're really simple, really striking, very clear, beautiful deck. And it's better now that I've modified it. And actually, now I've seen it close up, I can live with that tiny little bit of bleeding. That's probably the worst card. But I can live with that. It's a deck for me that's going to get lots of use. So thank you for watching. Yeah, I hope with having a 4-day gap, I hope this will all kind of stitch together nicely and I've not missed out something major. I was trying to remember what I said on Tuesday. It's now Saturday, but we are where we are. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.